Yes, it's time for another virtual drag race. This time we've got the new Toyota HiLux 48V mild hybrid system up against the GWM Alpha Ute hybrid. It's not a completely fair comparison, I understand that. The GWM is petrol while the HiLux is diesel. The GWM is also a lot more powerful than the HiLux. So in the HiLux is a 2.8 litre turbo diesel 4-cylinder producing 150 kilowatts and 500 Newton meters. This is assisted by a mild hybrid system. Basically, it's a two-way alternator on the engine. So it's just got a belt spinning around. It supplies power, helps start the vehicle and get it going off at the lights and so on as well. In the Alpha Ute is a completely different, more conventional hybrid system. The electric motor is actually really powerful too. It produces 78 kilowatts alone. But combined with the 2-litre turbo-petrol 4-cylinder engine, which produces 180 kilowatts itself, so that's already more than the HiLux, you're getting 255 kilowatts. But as you'll see in the upcoming full video review of the GWM Alpha Ute, performance really depends on how much battery charge you've got. I've done a series of tests and purposely got the battery level right down. I couldn't get it right down to 20% or below. I think the lowest I got it was around 40%. That's just by going up and down, trying to on purpose to deplete the battery because I wanted to see what sort of performance it offered with a low battery. But then I also charged it all the way up, and you can do this. I had it in sport mode. I don't know if you need it in sport mode, but you can put it in sport mode and sit there, put your foot on the throttle and just rev the engine and the battery will actually charge up. You can see the little display. It only takes about a minute or two to fully charge the battery. Okay, I think that's as high as the battery will go. I've been sitting here now for about a minute or so, slightly revving the engine to try and get that last bar filled up, but it doesn't look like it goes to that full capacity, probably for safety reasons or whatever. So with the full performance testing with the V-Box, I did a series of tests with different states of battery charge to find the best performance, but also the lowest or the sort of weakest performance. In this test though, it's going to be a bit different because as usual, I've put the camera at 3 separate spots down the quarter mile, the exact same positions. I've marked it out on the tarmac here, so I know exactly where the cameras are. But I take off, turn around and do another shot with the camera halfway down, then another shot with the camera all the way at the end. So what I'm going to do with the GWM for this instance is charge the battery at the start. So the takeoff will be with a pretty much full battery, but then halfway down, that'll be the second run. So the battery might go down to 80% or something like that. The battery is only 1.75 kilowatt hours, by the way. It's very small, it just depletes straight away. Like you could seriously do about 3 runs down here and the battery's gone, or at least not supplying that much power. So the second run, the battery will be depleted a little bit, but then by the third run, the battery will be down to around 60 or 50%. So I think it's a good average run, and it will give you a bit of a representation of what you can expect out of the GWM if you were, for instance, out at the traffic lights or something like that. Unless you can quickly put it into park and charge the battery for a minute while the light is red and then get the battery right up, then you're not going to get maximum performance each time you floor the throttle. The HiLux is very consistent. It runs the same performance times regardless of the battery level, and it charges the battery pretty quickly as well. It's only a small battery, but it's only got a small electric generator. Anyway, let's see how they go. By the way, with the HiLux, and as is usually the case with diesels, sport mode isn't actually quicker because it just over revs the engine. So if you see the dashboard and it doesn't say sport mode, and you want to say, oh, this HiLux wasn't even in sport mode, it's because it is actually quicker in normal mode, according to the V-Box anyway. This is with the battery at about 60%. This is with the battery just below 50%. That's about as low as I can get it, because I end up hitting the brakes to turn around and then it charges back up a little bit. We'll see how this goes. Definitely struggling a little bit. Done 11 seconds. Yeah, 11.01 seconds with the battery below 50%. So it really doesn't like it when the battery is low. If you're driving along the highway or something like that, a big uphill stint, the battery will drop right down and then you'll get not much power. Well, not much, but not as much as the 255 kilowatt combined claim. With the battery full, the GWM smashes the HiLux easily. But if you're, find yourself rolling up at the lights or something like that, you need to ensure that you've got the battery at full capacity before you can get that maximum performance. As you'll see in the full video review of the GWM coming up soon, I do a number of runs and purposely deplete the battery right down below 50% and see what sort of time it does 0 to 100. And there's about a 4-second difference between a full battery and a low, or even not even low. I couldn't get the battery down to about beyond 40%. So even at 40% up to 90%, there's a 4-second difference.